you sure?
The sim has been hacked. Somebody altered the restrictions.
Made those restraints so that you can be free. You know?
The film starts in the future, the upcoming time. We are shown that a company has made some androids, robots that look like humans, which are called simulants, which is also the name of this movie. These simulant robots are given 4 principles, which they always have to obey. The first principle was that they could not kill any human being. The second is that they cannot upgrade themselves, i.e., by making changes in themselves, they cannot make themselves better. The third is that they cannot break any rule of the government, they have to obey it in any case. The fourth and most important principle is that they have to obey humans in any case because they were actually made to help humans and designed in such a way that they do everything for humans. After this, we see a couple who were both husband and wife. The husband's name was Ivan, and they also had an old servant in their house who used to do all their work. Ivan was very fond of playing the piano, while his wife was always busy making paintings. Every day, Ivan used to have a dream in which these 3 were going somewhere by car. Suddenly, a car came and hit their car. Due to this, they had a very bad accident, after which their car fell on a rock and had a narrow escape from falling into a pit, due to which their lives were saved, but Ivan got a lot of injuries. Every day, because of this dream, Ivan used to get up in fear. He thinks that this has never happened, then why is this dream bothering me again and again? Many times, he tried to tell his wife about this, on which she always said one thing: "This is just your dream and nothing else. Coincidentally, you must have such dreams every day, because, actually, nothing like this happened." From her conversation, it seems that she was hiding something. Most of the time, she ignored this. She always stayed in a separate room from Ivan, where Ivan was not allowed to go. Now we look at the police of the robot company, whose job it is to keep an eye on these robots, whether they are working properly or not. If there is any problem, then they should be caught immediately and stopped. Here, a detective got a simulant whose name was Esme and was hired to find her, who had been close for the last 3 years, but now suddenly her signals have been active, due to which she ran away, and now she has no whereabouts. Now the detective knew that Esme was living in a rented house, so he quickly went to catch her and stood outside her house. As soon as Esme came out, he pointed a gun at her to catch her, but she was so powerful that she first removed the gun that was in front of her. Then she punched the detective and dropped him down. Then she picked him up again, and this time she threw him down the stairs. After doing so, she started running away from here. This was quite strange, because one of the principles of simulant was to obey every word of humans, but here she was not obeying this principle, and here the detective had a special kind of magnetic gun with which he went to find Esme. As soon as he came to one place and shot from the gun in the sky, all the simulated robots suddenly jammed. When the detective moved forward, he saw Esme in this stopped state, who was just about to run away with the bike but stopped from shooting, and now the detective puts a collar device on her neck and catches her. Then he left Esme at his office and came back to her house to investigate. Now he was investigating when a boy came here who was a scientist and a hacker. Here he says his name is Casey and starts saying that I am Esme's neighbor. She and I are good friends. Who are you, and what are you doing here? Where is Esme? On this, he replies, "Do you know the girl who has been living with you for a long time is not a normal girl but a simulant, a robot?" Knowing this, Casey is quite shocked. After his departure, the detective finds a dairy, a fish tank, and a book. Seeing this, the detective is quite shocked. He begins to think, because no robot has been designed like this to date, that has feelings, and humans like humans, and who keeps things with her that humans keep? Later, he returned to his office, where Esme was lying down on the table. Now, the robotic chip has been removed from her body. After scanning her whole body, it finds out that while making her simulate, the code that was put inside her was completely altered, and the code she has now is because of this. She has not remained a robot, but she has human-like feelings inside her. On checking her brain, they find out the memories of Casey, from which they understand that it means Casey and Esme used to like each other. This was quite shocking, because no human till now has such feelings as humans. They've got to find that human who hacked Esme's system, that is, after controlling her, has changed her completely. To get more information, the detective returned to catch Casey, but he had already left his house. To investigate more, the detective comes to Esme's house. He finds a book that is too old, bought by Esme. He comes to the shop from where this book was taken. He was investigating the shopkeeper, and Casey came there. The detective runs there to catch Casey, but Casey had already run from there. Ivan's wife was taking a bath in the pool. She was looking a little upset. When Ivan comes to her to calm her down, his wife pushes him away by saying, "Now, this is too much, the time has come to tell you the whole truth." Saying this, she comes with Ivan to the room, where Ivan's entry was initially forbidden. There was a simulated robot like his wife. It was like his wife, because it was his wife's duplicate. Here, it reveals that Ivan wasn't a human but a simulator. His wife shows him this truth. She removes the skin from his chest and shows him the chip there. Seeing what Ivan sees, "I am quite shocked." He says this is a lie and isn't possible. He isn't a robot but a human, and his wife tells him that no, you're really a robot, a clone like my husband. Actually, the dreams of the accidents you'd often had were true, because I and my husband got into an accident in which he really died. After which, I went to the company and made a clone of my husband. Before that accident, when the company started to make these simulators, both of us decided if someone between us died, we wouldn't marry but with clones of each other. That's why my clone was also made here, and you're the clone of my husband. I hid the fact of the accident from you, so you keep away from these things. I wasn't able to live after keeping this secret in my heart. That's why I told you the whole truth. He refuses to agree and says, "No, I just love you. I just want to live with you, not with anyone else, not with your clone or anyone else." Hearing this, his wife feels strange. She stops his system on the pretext of making him sleep. After a while, Casey comes here and tells himself that he is a worker for that company. "My job is to check for malfunctions in the robot and fix them." Ivan's wife tells him that he is having human-like feelings. He frequently has dreams of the accident. "How is he seeing the memories of my husband?" He checks Ivan and tells his wife because the memories of your husband were put into his mind. That is why he could see his memories frequently. He is insisting on making love with you and living with you because he has the feelings of your husband. Ivan's wife says that now I don't have to live with a simulant, so you can end him after shutting him down completely. But Casey suggests that instead of shutting him down, I send him to a specific area I know. Saying this, he gives the card for that area. He says that there are many other simulators there, so he can live there easily after going there, so he'll be saved from being destroyed. Hearing this, Ivan's wife gets emotional. Although he is a simulant, he is also a clone of her husband. He has everything for her husband. She decides not to shut him up and asks for some time to send him to that area. The detective comes and meets the manager of the robot company. He tells everyone everything about Esme and asks about Casey to get information. He finally tells her that Casey is a worker in your company. There was no worker with the name Casey, so the manager doesn't get anything. When the detective shows her Casey's sketch made by him, the manager understands and begins to tell him that he is not Casey, but the most intelligent person in our company. First of all, he started making android robots, but very soon he left this task and his job, because he thought if they are simulated robots and don't have feelings and emotions, they still need to be taken care of. Humans only look at them as their servants. They also need to get a few of their rights back. Ivan's wife brings him to the place where the other simulants live. After leaving him in a room, she went to say bye to him. After a while, Casey comes there and begins to tell Ivan that I know you're a simulated, and your wife wanted to make you shut down completely. I suggested bringing you here, and if you want to meet your wife again and want her to come back, you've got to support me and stand with me. There, the detective had to find Casey at any cost, so he hacks his car's location, i.e., the place where he is now. Because he has no account, he can't find his location. He brings Esme to her senses again and begins to ask her about Casey. She was hearing him but was standing with a bowed head. She didn't tell him. Ivan's clone wasn't still believing himself to be a simulant. He came to the place where the real Ivan had an accident. Coming here, he realizes that this is the place where I often had dreams, so he understands that I'm really a clone. He directly goes to Casey and begins to tell him that I will make you like a human. He agrees, and Casey begins to operate on him. He cuts his chest and brings out the main chip from there, from which he'll live like humans. He will live on his own, and nobody will tease him. Casey brings him to a club to celebrate his new life. The detective was looking for the location of Casey, so he found the location of this club. When he sees Ivan in the cameras, he tries to contact his master, who is his wife, so he could somehow reach Casey. The clone of Esme in the club, who was made by Casey, comes to him and begins to dance. They were talking to each other about a plan. We can learn here that Casey wants to free all the simulants of the world from those 4 rules made by the company. so they can also live a life of peace and freedom. And they can't live under human rule, and their lives can't be like prisons. They went to the parking area of the company, where they kidnap the biggest scientist in the company. They take the ID of the main system of the company and the password of the company from him and put a virus into it after hacking it. So the 4 rules made for the robots could be ended, but 2 days were required for the upgrade of this system. But the detective has traced their location to where he comes with his companions. There was a van where Esme's clone was living, and as soon as she saw them, she ran. But the detective shoots her with his special gun and stops her. They bring her to the office, and they learn that neither they could hack her nor see her code. Casey has put a lot of security in her system, so no one can see her. When she started to be investigated, the light on her neck turned on. That is when her destructive mode turns on. When their investigation increased, something began to happen to Esme's clone. After a while, she was destroyed completely.